Very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I'm Thiruni Karunaratna. Here's a look at tonight's top stories.
On Newsfirst.
Construction begins on Rambukkana-Galagedera Expressway with 112 billion rupees in local funding. Transport Ministry Secretary explains resignation, cites academic commitments.
ඕනෑම විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ආචාර්යවරයෙක් අවසාන වතරේ නැවත කිසිම නිවාඩුවක් ගන්න බෑ යන්න වෙනවා.
IMF affirms country on correct path towards debt sustainability. Fresh warrant issued for Basil. Date set for Namal's Krish case hearing. SLPP to field fearless leader for the opposition. Nationwide preparations underway for Vesak. Sirasa Namami zone in Tambul.
A top story this evening. Construction work on the Rambukkana to Galagedera section of the Central Expressway officially commenced today.
The ceremony was held under the patronage of President Anura Kumara Dissanayake.
The project is being carried out using domestic funding.
The construction of the second phase of Section 3 of the Central Expressway from Rambukkana to Galagedera is currently underway. The section covers a distance of 18.7 kilometers. An estimated cost of 112.4 billion rupees has been allocated for the construction from Rambukkana to Galagedera. The entire project will be implemented using domestic funds through local contracting companies. Meanwhile, Secretary to the Ministry of Transport, Highways and Urban Development, Professor Kapilasi Pereira has clarified his decision to resign from his post.
I have come from the University of Moratuwa. I am 64 years old. In principle, any university academic is not allowed to take any further leave in the final year of service and must retire. I had informed the President on about 3 occasions that I intended to leave. As you all know, there was a Supreme Court ruling, but that has no impact on this matter. In fact, I did not even sign my resignation letter myself. I printed it while I was on the move by going to a communication center. I did this because I did not want to give anyone an opportunity to use my departure as a tool to criticize or defame the government, the minister or anyone else. That is why I have also sacrificed 2 years of my sabbatical leave and spent that time at Shandong University in China. I initially planned to leave on the 1st of May. However, I decided to stay until the 15th of May to complete the budget proposals. I would like to sincerely thank the Honourable President, the Minister, the 2 Deputy Ministers and all the staff of the Ministry for accepting my request and granting me permission to step down.
ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා මාව නිදහස් කරන්න මගේ ඉල්ලීමට කන් දීලා මට අවසර දීම ගැන.
Sri Lanka is on the right economic path despite mounting pressure from rising global oil prices, with the International Monetary Fund commending the country's decision to ease import restrictions while continuing its reform agenda. The assessment was made by IMF Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, Evan Papageorgiou, during a media briefing where he highlighted the government's policy direction as a positive signal of economic discipline and recovery.
The IMF Executive Board earlier approved the immediate disbursement of approximately $695 million to Sri Lanka. The funding follows the successful completion of the 5th and 6th combined reviews under the Extended Fund Facility or EFF program. The latest tranche brings the total financial assistance received by Sri Lanka under the IMF program, which began in March 2023, to around $2.4 billion, providing critical support as the country continues its post-crisis recovery. At the media briefing, Papageorgiou also welcomed Sri Lanka's progressive approach to relaxing import controls that were imposed during the height of the economic crisis.
On import restrictions, so this is important because this is a discussion we have been having with the authorities in general. So it is important to note that the adjustment that has happened in the currency is, as I mentioned a few moments ago, is well understood, and it reacted to economic fundamentals. Import restrictions don't have a significant role to play over the long term. They should not have a significant role to play over the long term, because the idea is that the economy needs to adjust to its macroeconomic fundamentals. In general, we advise against broad-based import restrictions for stabilizing the economy. In fact, I would say, the government has been moving in the opposite direction, in the right direction, in that they have steadily relaxed some of these crisis-era import bans. For example, with the import on the ban on vehicle imports, which were lifted early last year, and which helped spur very strong economic activity and very strong revenue for Treasury. And so since then, the other import controls have been eased. And so our preference is to continue to avoid imposing new import restrictions or import bans or broad restrictions. So this is very important, and we are discussing this very actively with the authorities. We recognize the severe shock, obviously, from the Middle East conflict, and the global commodity price hikes have put a lot of pressure on Sri Lanka. And so we are discussing a lot of these issues actively now with the authorities. And we had a similar discussion also with our executive board yesterday.
Sri Lanka's debt sustainability remains fragile but is steadily improving under ongoing economic reforms, according to Evan Papageorgiou, the International Monetary Fund Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, who pointed out that while risks persist, the overall trajectory of debt is moving in a positive direction.
So debt sustainability, this is an issue that we've discussed many times in the past. Obviously, debt had been quite high in Sri Lanka from the beginning of the program, and in more recent years, Sri Lanka has undertaken quite significant set of reforms, including obviously a debt restructuring, which is nearly complete. Debt sustainability risks remain high, and we have described it as such, if you will, in our assessment when you look at the debt sustainability analysis in the staff report, and this has been an ongoing discussion. This is not unique into this current review in that, debt in general still remains quite high. However, it is very important to acknowledge that there has been significant improvement in the level of debt and most importantly in where the debt trajectory is heading, where you'll see under our baseline assumptions, we continue to see debt continue declining, in coordination also with the assumptions that we have about maintaining the primary fiscal surplus, maintaining good economic growth over the medium to long term, and keeping inflation under control and everything else. Yes, there are debt risks, as in many countries, but under the baseline or most reasonable assumptions, we think these debt risks are manageable and they should continue being kept under control in association with strong policies and also ongoing reforms to bring debt under control. After some time, the concern about it will go away because as debt keeps declining, there will be more room for more productive uses of additional debt and so on. So then the risk premium, in other words, should continue falling as it has already.
According to the Colombo Consumer Price Index, inflation for May has increased to 5.5%.
In April, inflation was recorded at 5.4%. In May, the annual inflation rate for the food category declined to 0.9% compared to 2.8% recorded in April. Meanwhile, the annual inflation rate for the non-food category rose to 7.8%, up from 6.8% in April.
Another court warrant was issued today ordering that former Minister Basil Rajapaksa be arrested and produced before courts.
The warrant was issued by the Fort Magistrates Court. Previously, the Mathura Magistrates Court had also issued a warrant against Basil Rajapaksa in connection with the Browns Hill land case.
The Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasena today ordered the Criminal Investigation Department to arrest and produce before court former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, former Chairman of the Tourism Promotion Bureau Bashwara Gunaratna, former Managing Director Rumi Chauffeur and others in connection with utilising 7.8 million rupees belonging to the Tourism Promotion Bureau for the 2014 Over-Provincial Council election campaign. This order was issued after the CID informed the magistrate through a motion that the individuals were being named as suspects under the Public Property Act based on advice from the Attorney General. The CID also informed the court that officers had visited the residences of the suspects to arrest them regarding the incident, but they were not present at those locations. Considering a request to impose a travel ban on the suspects, the magistrate ordered a ban on their foreign travel and directed that the Controller General of Immigration and Emigration be informed of the order. The CID further informed the court that in 2014, under the guise of tourism promotion, 12,000 T-shirts were printed using the funds of the Tourism Promotion Bureau. These T-shirts featured a photograph of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa on one side and the name of a political party on the other. Investigating officers stated that these T-shirts had been distributed for a political program in the Munaragala district. Meanwhile, participating in a Sri Lanka Pujana Peramuna press conference today, former Minister Lakshman Yapabe Wadana stated that Basil Rajapaksa is not in a medical condition suitable for air travel.
යන්න බෑනේ එතුමා අසනීප වෙලානේ. එතුමාට කියලා තියෙනවා travel කරන්න එපා කියලා. ඒ වගකීම එමිරේට් එකෙන් ගන්නෙත් නැහැ. සමාගම් වලින් ගන්නෙත් නැහැ. එතුමා වෛද්‍ය සාතික ඉදිරිපත් කළා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් උසාවියකට නාවම වරන්තු එක සාමාන්‍ය දෙයක්. හැබැයි එතුමා අසනීප වෙලා ඉන්න එපා එන්න. එතුමාට travel කරන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් එනවා. මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ ඒක. දැනට travel කරන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒක ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් වෛද්‍ය වාර්තා දීලා තියෙනවා පැය ගානක් travel කරන්න බෑ කියලා.
Meanwhile, the Colombo High Court today scheduled the trial against Member of Parliament Nama Rajapaksa, the national organizer of the Sri Lanka Potujana Peramuna, over the infamous Krish transaction to commence on the 7th of July. The case was called today before Colombo High Court Judge Nathi Aparna Sundaru-Goda. Concluding the pre-trial conference today, the judge ordered the issuance of summons to the prosecution's first and second witnesses, Ravindra Gupta and Amit Patel, to appear in court to give evidence on the 7th of July. The judge inquired from Deputy Solicitor General Vasantha Pereira, who appeared for the prosecution, whether issuing summons through the regular procedure would suffice or if international summons procedures were required. In response, the Deputy Solicitor General stated that the regular method of issuing summons would be adequate. The Attorney General had filed indictments before the Colombo High Court on the 5th of February last year, accusing Nama Rajapaksa of criminal breach of trust for allegedly accepting 70 million rupees from the Indian company Krish under the guise of promoting rugby. The indictment followed an investigation conducted by the Financial Crimes Investigation Division based on a complaint lodged in 2016 by Vasantha Samarasinghe, the convener of the Voice Against Corruption Committee. On a previous occasion, Nama Rajapaksa was named as a suspect in this case, arrested and produced before the Fort Magistrates Court, after which he was released on bail.
You are asking me this question right outside the court, and you are asking it at the exact moment I'm walking out after appearing in court, attending the pre-trial conference and obtaining the next court date. So wherever our presence is required, we do appear. Furthermore, those who are not physically present have been represented by their legal counsel. We have never gone into hiding. At the same time, members of this current government have associated with those senior Rajapaksa members much more closely than I have since 2005. Therefore, since these government officials call them every evening to chat and ask, how is the situation in the country and what do you think, it would be better if they just ask them directly when they are returning instead of asking me. After all, he is my uncle, but to them, they are friends. They belong to that era where everyone is a friend. So instead of asking for gossip, it would be much better if they called and asked them directly when they plan to return.
Who is most suitable to lead opposition politics?
A broad discourse is currently developing on opposition stages regarding political coalitions and alliances emerging in various quarters. Lakshman Yapa of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna stated today that a broad alliance will be formed under their party.
When climbing Sri Pada or the Adams Peak, you can take the Ratnapura road. You can also take the Hatton road, but everyone meets at the summit. Once they meet, it will become clear who can lead that entire crowd. The Grassroots Foundation belongs to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. Within the next 2 years, everyone will accept the leadership on this ground. Rather than leaders who just keep talking, we need a fearless leader. We need a leader who can face any of these issues if they arise. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has the genes for that. Mahinda Rajapaksa's genes work very well.
ඔව් මම හිතනවා මිනිස්සුන්ට පිළිගන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඒක සියලුම දේශපාලන පක්ෂවලට.
This is the stance of the Sarvajana Balaya party.
Our party leader, Dilip Jayavira, contested the last presidential election. We also made our stance clear to the country during the last media rally, which everyone witnessed. The sole objective of our party members is to bring our party leader into the future leadership of this country. Therefore, as a party, we are making every possible sacrifice to achieve that. We hope that other groups in the opposition will also place their trust in him and support him in the future.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයා තමයි ඒතකොට විපක්ෂ නායකයවරයා. ඔහු සුදුසු නැද්ද මේ ඉදිරියේදී මේ එකපත් විපක්ෂ නායක?
දැන් එතුමා He contested the presidential election twice. Whether he should contest for a third time or not is something I believe his own party should decide.
Mujibur Rahman, the Deputy General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balaweg, expressed his views regarding opposition politics during a press conference held today.
We know that they are holding separate meetings as a joint opposition. Similarly, we are also conducting our own round of meetings as the Samagi Jana Balaweg and the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya. Therefore, politically speaking, there are certain conflicting viewpoints between us and them. However, that is neither an issue nor a problem for us. They are carrying out their role, and we, as the main opposition, are carrying out ours.
Chamira Pereira, the convener of the United Citizens Alliance, expressed his views regarding the politicians who are preparing to lead the opposition.
Opposition leaders are popping up from here, there and everywhere. If you kick a bush, a whole bunch of opposition leaders will fall out. There is Sajit Premadas on one side, GL Piris on another side, and Dilip Jayavira on some other side. There is a whole lot of opposition leaders. The latest trend to become president is just rushing forward and pushing themselves through. Namal Rajapaksa is also pushing his way through. It is as if there are hundreds of thousands of people, yet these aspiring presidents are just crowding and squeezing through. We saw that with Dilip Jayavira running like a madman on May Day. Even if they break their backs trying, the likes of Johnston and Kuttiarachi cannot lift Namal Rajapaksa. Can they lift Namal Rajapaksa up by gathering these people? Can GL Piris do it, having sat in the laps of the Rajapaksas and crept into everything they built to create an autocratic family dynasty where they could become kings? Now these people are talking about abolishing the executive presidency. Now they are talking about constitutional amendments. Now they are talking about the rule of law. And they are going to do all of this with GL Piris as the leader. Let's wait and see how they do it. They made thousands from antigen tests that could have been given for 200 or 300 rupees. They made money off hotels under the guise of giving free hotel quarantine to the people. These are the very people who collaborated with a ruthless person like Gotabaya Rajapaksa to ruin this country. And now they come and say, I can take over anytime. Take over what? As if the people will just hand it over to them. We saw this pathetic opposition shouting all this time that it will be over by this Poya Day, that Poya Day, or this Vesak Poya Day. They were just waiting for queues to form. Let me say this clearly. You people cannot be resurrected even in this entire cosmic eon. Even if they break their backs trying, you people cannot be resurrected.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake emphasized that for the first time, the political protection that once shielded drug trafficking and criminal activity has been dismantled, and that no such networks will receive political backing under any circumstances.
The president made these remarks while attending the 2026 Vesak celebrations at the historic Ganeva Purna Viharya in Nikavaratya.
The 2026 Vesak celebrations at the historic Galivera Purana Viharya in Nikavaratya was attended by the Mahasangha, led by the Mahanayaka of the Sri Lanka Ramanya Mahanikaya, Aggamaha Pandita Most Venerable Makulave Vimalathera, along with ministers, members of parliament and government officials. During the ceremony, newly constructed facilities at the temple, including a Dhamma hall, a boatry enclosure, a bell tower and an arms hall, were officially declared open under the patronage of the President. A book titled Divi Magasadaham, compiled based on sermons delivered by Venerable Katnorue Siridhammathera, was also launched along with a digital application for the temple.
විදේශ ධර්ම දේශනාවකට ගියාට පස්සේ එක තරුණයෙක් මට ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා හාමුදුරුවනේ.
After I went overseas for a Dhamma sermon, a young man came up to me and said, Venerable Thero, it seems our religion is not in a very good state now. I asked why. He said, there seems to be too much conflict. I asked, from whom? He responded, even the government does not seem strong enough. He told me, if you look at the north and east, many of our archaeological heritage sites are being destroyed. He said it wasn't like this before. Then we must ask ourselves, who governed this country for all these years? Sinhala Buddhist rulers governed it. So we must reflect deeply. Did we do what was right or what was wrong? Therefore, under no circumstance can the protection of the Dhamma or the future of the Buddha Sasana be determined by the government, the president or the state missionary. The existence of the Sasana depends on society. Even here, we see Muslim devotees offering alms. Tomorrow, Sinhala mothers and fathers will offer alms and Catholic children will conduct dhansals. So remember, the survival of religion depends on our conduct. These are the signs of a true Buddhist awakening.
Speaking at the event, President Dissanayaka elaborated on the government's intensified efforts to combat the drug menace.
From the 30th of October last year to today, we have seized about 1,947 kilograms of heroin. That is equivalent to about 39 fertilizer bags filled with heroin. We have also seized 2,062 kilograms of ice or crystal meth, which is nearly the volume of 41 fertilizer bags. In addition, 289 kilograms of cocaine have been seized, which is close to 6 fertilizer bags. Even now, we do not believe that this is all. This is only what we have been able to seize. From that, we can understand the scale of drugs circulating within the country. We can clearly see how much of our younger generation has fallen victim to this menace. Within just 4 months, we have arrested 186,000 individuals. Among them are 6,064 boys under the age of 21 and 138 girls. This clearly shows the extent to which the youth have been affected. We have also seized 83 automatic firearms. If you look at this creatively, 2 doors have been created for our young people to select. One is a destructive doorway, and another is a doorway that secures their future. I know that powerful forces stand behind the destructive doorway. There was a time when political power stood behind it. There was a time when state power supported it. There is still financial power backing it. This is a doorway opened with the support of immense power. Therefore, we must close it. To close it, we must exercise equal or greater power. I want to say clearly, for the first time in Sri Lanka, we have broken the political power that existed behind drug-related crimes. No one involved will receive political patronage or protection.
Following
the formal proceedings, the President also engaged in friendly interactions with members of the public gathered at the event.
The entire country is currently preparing to commemorate Vesak, which marks the birth, enlightenment and attainment of Nirvana of Lord Buddha.
Coinciding with the Vesak full moon Puya day, the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone will be held this year, centering the historic Rangiri Damulu Rajamahavihara.
The Sirasa Namami Vesak zone will be held tomorrow and the day after, centering the historic Rangiri Damulu Rajamahavihara. A discussion regarding its preparations was held this morning at the Rangiri Damulu Rajamahavihara. the sacred relics of Lord Buddha, Angara relics, and the relics of the chief disciples Sariputta and Moggallana, which will be exhibited for veneration at the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone, will be brought from the Dambadini Rajama Viharya. The public exposition of the sacred relics will commence tomorrow from 11 a.m. onwards. Those visiting the Sirasa Namami Vesak zone tomorrow and the day after can witness and experience a wide range of features, including the veneration of sacred relics, Vesak pandals, beautiful lanterns, Vesak dansa, puppet shows, and devotional songs. The Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone is organized with the contribution of the Rangiri Dambola Viharya, the Dambola Divisional Secretariat, and the Dambola Municipal Council. Meanwhile, a special Samma Sati mindfulness program led by the Venerable Panya Karathera from America, who engaged in the war for peace in the Island of Peace, is scheduled to be broadcast tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Sirasa TV. Meanwhile, 25 Vesak pandals have been erected in Colombo and its suburbs this year as well. The Totalanga pandal is being erected for the 71st time. The Palyaguda Navaloka Vesak pandal is being erected for the 65th time this year. It depicts the Mahaushadha Jataka. The Demataguda pandal, which depicts the Gitja Jataka, is being erected for the 45th time this year. This is the Vesak pandal at Baldalokamouth in Colombo. It depicts the Kattahari Jataka. The Peta pandal, presented by the Peta United Bodharaj Association, depicts the Kumarakashipu Matha story this year. The Buddha Rashmi National Vesak Zone, centered around the Hunupitiya Gangarama Temple in Colombo, is being held this year as well. It will take place from tomorrow until the 2nd of June. In conjunction with the State Vesak Festival, the Dakshina Prabha Vesak Zone in Mathura will be held until the 3rd of June, centering around the Tihakuta Mityalavila Purana Viharya, the Mathura Beach Coastal Area, and the Mathura Migadai Temple.
Sri Lanka has officially strengthened its diplomatic presence in the Asia-Pacific region with the opening of its new High Commission in Wellington, New Zealand.
The newly established High Commission of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka in Wellington was ceremonially inaugurated on the 28th May, in parallel with the official visit of Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath. The event was attended by New Zealand's Foreign Minister, Right Honourable Winston Peters, who participated as a special guest. The inauguration ceremony reflected a blend of cultural traditions from both nations.
The opening of the Sri Lankan High Commission here in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Proceedings commenced with Sri Lankan religious observances alongside a traditional Maori blessing, symbolizing unity, respect and shared values between the two countries.
This High Commission is the newest addition to Sri Lanka's diplomatic network abroad and our 63rd resident mission overseas. Sri Lanka and New Zealand enjoy warm and long-standing relations built on mutual respect, shared democratic values, and a commitment to multilateralism, the rules-based international order, inclusivity, and regional cooperation. I also wish to acknowledge the invaluable contributions made by the Sri Lankan diaspora in New Zealand over the years. Through their hard work, achievements, and active engagement with New Zealand society, they have strengthened the bonds between our two countries and served as a proud ambassadors of Sri Lanka. Our overseas communities remain one of our greatest strengths and an important source of soft power and people-to-people connectivity. As we formally open this commission today, I am confident that it will serve not only as a platform to further enhance bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and New Zealand, but also a welcoming home away from home for the Sri Lankan community in this beautiful country.
Importantly, the new High Commission is expected to deliver tangible benefits to the Sri Lankan diaspora in New Zealand, which exceeds 30,000 people.
Weather first.
Up next is the weather forecast.
Vera Vidakun has all the details.
Yes, thank you, Theruni and Martin. Now, according to the latest weather forecast issued by the Department of Meteorology, sporadic showers or thunder showers can be expected from the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces, as well as Galle, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara districts. And at the same time, showers or thunder showers can be expected in the Uva province and Ampara and the Batikla districts after 1 p.m. Now, also, the Met Department has warned that sea areas extending from Kankasanture via Putlam to Mana, the sea areas extending from Kankasanture to Putlam via Mana and from Galle to Potuville via Hambantota may be very rough, and wind speeds in these coastal areas could increase up to 60 to 65 kilometers per hour. And at the same time, in other coastal areas, wind speeds may increase up to 50 kilometers per hour. Now, the Met Department has urged fishing and naval communities to exercise extreme caution in this regard.
Concluding a productive three-day run, the final day of the German Sri Lanka Business Forum 2026 successfully shifted from strategic discussions to bilateral dialogues and specialized industry site visits. Newsfirst Tiara Anthony brings us this report.
The Sri Lanka German Business Forum 2026 was held over a span of 3 days, dating from the 27th of May to the 29th of May. Now, this forum brought in together business leaders, investors and policymakers in order to strengthen economic ties between the two countries. Now, the first and second day featured a discussion based on innovation, investment, sustainability between the two countries. While today marks the third day, the very final segment of the German Sri Lanka Business Forum 2026, with a focus on bilateral dialogues and site visits, where delegates and business leaders are taking part in tailored B2B meetings alongside selected site visits to companies, projects and key infrastructure sites across Sri Lanka. Now, the main objective of today's session is to move beyond discussion and create a more practical aspect based on the regional collaboration between Sri Lanka and Germany.
Today, the delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka led a high-level site visit program focusing on the core pillars of the country's economic future. The itinerary then shifted to the port of Colombo for an exclusive overview of the Colombo West International Terminal by its business development team, showcasing the island's expanding maritime capabilities. The high-impact initiative will culminate in a final day of tailored B2B meetings, targeted company visits, and direct institutional engagement, bridging the gap between bilateral dialogue and concrete investment opportunities.
It was a fantastic forum. We had a wide span of topics. We talked about startups, we talked about the blue economy, the port extension opportunities here which arise for European and specifically German companies. We did today have a B2B session with our visitors and Sri Lankan companies, and we will close up the 3 days today by visiting the port of Colombo and Demo in their vocational site, the Demo Academy. So that will be the final leg of the 3 days event.
This 3-day forum concluded as a major success, with this final full-day program fostering bilateral knowledge exchange, institutional engagement and a deeper understanding of Sri Lanka's expanding industrial training and maritime logistics capabilities. The Maharaja Media Network and Newsfirst are exclusive media partners of the event.
The Embassy of Nepal in Sri Lanka today marked the 73rd International Sagarmatha Day in Colombo.
The Embassy of Nepal today celebrated the 73rd International Sagarmatha Day in Colombo to commemorate the historic first successful ascent of Mount Everest by Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and Sir Edmund Hillary. The Sagarmatha mountain-based tourism event showcased Nepal's Himalayan region as a premier destination for trekking, adventure and cultural tourism.
Today, we commemorate not just a geographical wonder, but a historic movement of human unity. On the day of today, that is 29th of May 1953, Tenzing Norgay Sherpa of Nepal and Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand stood together on that summit. Their partnership teaches us an essential truth that the greatest heights are never reached alone. They are reached together through trust, shared purpose, and mutual respect. That resilient spirit is not just history, it is alive even today. Let's take a moment to congratulate the incredible mountaineers of the 2026 climbing season. Your courage and determination continue to inspire us all. Nepal and Sri Lanka are ancient friends.
Today is not just about a summit, it is a celebration of courage, resilience, cross-cultural friendship, and the eternal bond between nature and humanity. Today, we also celebrate the enduring friendship between Nepal and Sri Lanka, two nations united by mountains, oceans, and shared dreams. This year's slogan, Sagarmatha, the highest peak of the world, identity and pride of Nepal. This slogan encapsulates the deep cultural, economic, and environmental significance of the world's highest peak to its homeland.
The program also promoted sustainable tourism practices across the Himalayan region while highlighting its unique natural and cultural heritage. Around 120 participants, including members of the diplomatic corps, outbound travel agents, community representatives, and invited guests attended the celebration.
The United States and Iran have reportedly reached an agreement to extend their ceasefire and lift restrictions on shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, though US President Donald Trump has yet to approve it, and Iranian state media said it had not been finalized.
According to 4 sources familiar with this matter, the agreement would extend the truce for another 60 days and allow traffic to flow through the strategic waterway while negotiators tackle difficult issues such as Iran's nuclear program.
We now cross over to Mitra Bekun for more details.
Yes, Martin and Therani. Now taking a look at the latest development on this conflict, President Trump has convened a White House Situation Room meeting to make a final decision on a tentative US-Iran agreement that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz and restart nuclear negotiations. Now, if this agreement is approved by leadership in Washington and Tehran, it would amount to the biggest step towards peace since the conflict began on the 28th of February. News of the possible agreement came after a round of tit-for-tat attacks between the two countries. The latest such incident took the ceasefire to effect in early April. Now, the sources said Trump has not yet approved the deal. Iran has yet to comment on the news of the proposed deal, which was first reported by Axios. Here are more details on this story. Iran's Tasnim news agency, citing a source close to the negotiating team, said the text of the agreement had not been finalized or confirmed. US Vice President J.D. Vance told reporters in Washington, quote-unquote, "We're not there yet, but we're very close and we're going to keep working on at it."
Part of what we're trying to do here is really set the stage for a successful negotiation. There are certain details that are going to have to be figured out that are going to take a little bit of time to figure out. Just take, for example, even if you come to an agreement on, let's say, destroying the enriched stockpile, how do you do it? When do you do it? How do you actually get access to it? As the president said repeatedly, we did very effectively bury that stuff very deeply underground. So there are a lot of details to work out. If you look at what we've already accomplished here, assuming that we're able to get to a final agreement here, we're reopening the Straits of Hormuz. We've already decimated their conventional military, and we're in a position where we can substantially set back their nuclear program, not just during the term of this president, but over the long term. That's that's a very, very good thing for the American people. So we're not there yet, but we're very close. We're going to keep on working at it. Thank you, guys.
The Trump administration has several times said a deal to end the fighting was close, only to have Iran dispute or downplay the claims. The deal would specify unrestricted shipping through the strait and would require the US also lift its blockade of Iranian ports. The US would also lift some sanctions on Iranian oil sales. The reports prompted oil prices to fall on hopes of a potential reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, a key transit route for roughly a fifth of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas supply. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he directed the Israel Defense Forces to increase control of Gaza to 70%. The expansion in control by Israel would contradict the terms of the Donald Trump-led ceasefire Israel and Hamas agreed to in October 2025. Speaking at a conference on Thursday, he said, quote, "We are currently squeezing Hamas. We now control 60% of the territory of the Strip."
אנחנו בתהליך שהכוח שלנו, אנחנו יכולים למנף את הכוח שלנו עם הרבה כיוונים. תצטרך עוד למחוץ את חיזבאללה. אנחנו כרגע לופתים את חמאס, כן? אנחנו עכשיו ב-60% משטח הרצועה, אתם יודעים את זה. היינו ב-50, עברנו ל-60. הדירקטיבה שלי היא לעבור תלכו לפי הסדר. קודם כל 70. בואו נתחיל בזה. לופתים אותם מכל עבר, אנחנו נטפל בשאריות. אבל הדבר החשוב ביותר הוא להמשיך למנף את הכוח שלנו, להגדיל אותו, ויש עוד עבודה. עכשיו, מה שקורה כרגע, אנחנו באמת בשינוי עולמי, אין ספק בזה.
Meanwhile, the United Nations says 15 children have been killed in Lebanon and 62 injured over the last 7 days despite the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. UNICEF, the UN Children's Agency, called the figures staggering and stressed that under international humanitarian law, children have to be protected at all times during conflict. Taking a look at sports news, the Sri Lankan squad for the 2026 ICC Women's T20 World Cup was announced today. The 15-member squad will be led by Chamari Atapattu. Hasini Pereira, Vishmi Gunaratna, Harshita Samarvikrama and Kavisha Dilhari have also been included in the squad among others. The Sri Lanka women's team is scheduled to depart the island on the 3rd of June to participate in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, which will be held in England. Moving on with more sports news, the election of office bearers to the Sri Lanka Boxing Association was held in Colombo today. However, it is reported that a group including Diane Gomez boycotted the election and walked out.
The annual general meeting and election of office bearers to the Sri Lanka Boxing Association were held today at the auditorium of the National Institute of Sports Medicine. Former president of the Sri Lanka Boxing Association, Diane Gomez, who arrived to attend the event, boycotted the AGM and walked out.
annual general meeting boxing
At this moment, the Boxing Association is holding an annual general meeting and also conducting an election today. I lodged a protest because I believe this is completely wrong. Whenever the association holds an AGM, audited accounts signed by the Government Auditor General must first be submitted. That has not happened this time. Therefore, it is completely wrong to hold an AGM based on draft accounts. I requested them to postpone this AGM and conduct it only after obtaining the certified accounts from the Auditor General. I am deeply disappointed about such unlawful actions. Around 100 million rupees have reportedly been received from the Asian Boxing Federation in this regard. Since proper auditing has not been carried out on those funds, my protest is mainly on that. In the history of Sri Lanka's Boxing Association, there has never been an AGM held without Auditor General certified audited accounts. Therefore, I express my disappointment about this matter. I will not remain in this meeting.
AGM එකක් පවත්වලා නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ ගැන මම කරගටුව පළ කරනවා. මම ඒ කියන්නේ මීටින් එකේ ඉන්නේ නැහැ.
However, despite the protest, the election was held as planned. Anuruddha Shanaka Bandara, who was elected president of the Sri Lanka Boxing Association during the previous term, was re-elected uncontested this time as well. Today's election was held for the 2027-2028 term. I, along with the Secretary, Vice Presidents and the Executive Committee, were elected uncontested. There were 21 clubs eligible for this election. We obtained approval from the Audit Department department before proceeding with today's AGM. He came here today and made various statements, but we conducted this election and AGM legally in accordance with the association's constitution, specifically under clause 11.11.5.
annual general meeting එක පවත්වනු ලබන්නේ.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.